welcome you all. And today we have Brahmacharini Anjali Ma with us. She is a devotee of Bhagavan since 2006, I presume. So she came to India uh, maybe 2006 or 2007, and then she met some Swamijis here in Varanasi, and then gradually she became an ardent devotee of Bhagavan, and then she went to Kolkata, and then uh, she had a direct she was very uh, impressed by Bhagavan, and she was completely absorbed in the love of Bhagavan. And as we can see that after a few years, she had given up all her life for the work of Bhagavan. She runs an ashram named Anjali Ashram in Netherlands. This is the only ashram that we have outside India, official ashram, and she's the in charge of that ashram. And from there, she has been continuously propagating Bhagavan's message of love, of unity, of oneness, as well as Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. Now she also has a lot of visitors in her ashram from different parts of the world, and she is also very soon she's also undertaking a journey to Palestine and Israel to give some speeches on Vedanta. So congratulations for that, and welcome Anjali Ma into this program. So we are all delighted today. So now you have the session with you, so you can start.
Thank you so much, Swami Prabhupada. It's an honor to be here with all of you and to share the stories of Bhagwan, because it's the most blissful moment someone can have in his life, to spend the days with God. So I'm very honored to be here and to remember all the beautiful days and moments we had with Bhagwan. So I also want to give my gratitude to Bhagwan, whose ever presence is always there. So he's still here, although his physical presence is not being seen anymore. And also my pranam to Guru Ma and for the International Vedanta Society, who gave me shelter and put me here in this place to share this love with the whole world at the moment. So thank you so much, Swamiji, to host this beautiful session.
Thank you. So, Anjali Ma, tell us, how was Anjali Ma before she met Bhagavan? Means before you had a different name, so we are not going into that name. So, how was your life? How was, how you were before you had met Bhagavan?
I was a true seeker. A true seeker to find some fulfillment. There was no fulfillment in my life. I have done so many things in my life. I traveled all over the world, and I did my job, and I had joyful moments. But every time when I came home, I felt this emptiness inside my heart, and that was always so painful. So this seeking was going on, and I could not stop. I tried so many things, also here in the West. Like Western workshops, but still in the end, no self-realization was achieved, or not even nearer. So I just was searching for a way to have some master that could help me to reach the ultimate goal of life, which is self-realization. So by reading some books about spiritual masters in India, I felt so much inclined. I also want one. And I just left to India in search for a guru, which is quite bold because India is quite big.
Yeah.
So search for a guru, I didn't have any idea. I thought, oh, they are in the Himalayas, so let's go there. But yeah, I didn't find any there. But I found an ashram actually in Varanasi, with the help of a man from Spain who looked like a monk. So I was just grabbing anybody who looked like a monk, like find some place to find shelter and guidance. So, and he was actually going to the International Vedanta Society. So at that moment, I just joined him, and there I met one of the monks of IVS, Swami Shankaranandaji, who gave classes on the Bhagavad Gita, and that already changed my whole life. So since that moment, I have been in touch with him, and he helped me already a lot. But only in 2010, I had the chance to meet Bhagavan personally. And at that moment, there was really nothing left in my life anymore. It was emptiness all the time. Having everything achieved, having a good job, having money, everything was there in my life. Still, there was no happiness. There was just this emptiness, always coming back. So I remember having this big farm for myself with 1 hectare of land, and I stood there and looked at the sky, and the only thing I felt like crying, because I didn't know where to find happiness anymore. And then at that moment, I really shouted to the universe, help, God, help. And then Swami Shankaranandaji found me again. So, and a few months later, I could meet Bhagavan, which was a life-changing event, completely life-changing event.
Well, that's nice. So you came to India in 2010 to meet Bhagavan.
Yes.
So you went to Kolkata. So can you tell us about your experience, the first experience that you had of Bhagavan?
Yeah, well, I came to India, and Swami Shankarananda was awaiting me in the airport, which was very much an honor to me to meet him after 3 years. So I went to the Mayabari Ashram in Virati. It's in the northern part of Kolkata. And Bhagavan was actually not there at that moment, because he was in the central part of Kolkata, the Vedanta Ashram in Lake Gardens. So I could not meet him instantly. But I met actually after the morning prayer. I met Guru Ma, which was also a very deep meeting, because I started crying right away by seeing her, and not like a little bit like tears. No, I was really crying, because she's such a powerful woman also, and I felt like bending my head, and I had this Western mind not wanting to bend my head. But I felt I wanted to touch her feet, but I could not. My mind would not let me, so I just burst in tears. But after calming down and Guru Ma came again, I gave my pranam to her, and I found that it's the most beautiful thing to do, to touch the feet of a spiritual person. So it really relieved my heart. And then next day I got the news that I could go to Lake Gardens Ashram, the Vedanta Ashram in Lake Gardens, to meet Bhagavan. So my heart was beating twice as fast as normally to have this opportunity, because I traveled all the way to meet him, all the way from the Netherlands. It's not an easy journey. And when I went there, I went by metro and first by train, then by metro, and then by rickshaw. So, and when we arrived, Swami Shankarananda was there and Swami Satchidananda, and they jumped out of this rickshaw, and I was like, oh, they are going so fast. What is happening? I'm not prepared yet, because I felt something big would happen to meet him. That was really something I felt from the heart. So they entered right away, and they went upstairs to the room of Bhagavan, where a lot of devotees were also sitting. And then after standing outside, I was called inside. And when I entered, I saw this huge figure sitting on this bed in this simple room. And at that moment, I really saw that, like, I was so impressed by his appearance, because it was like he was so full. I found that so many people were actually, all the people were so empty. Bhagavan was so full of light, full of love. It seems like he was bursting. He was bursting out of his body almost. It was incredible. Like a tornado could come. He would not even move. He was like a rock. He was so solid. He was full to the brim. And I had never ever seen such a figure in my life. So I was very impressed, very impressed. And I did see that Bhagwan was something very, very special. So he started also talking to me, and he said, like, why do you come here to this place, to this old man sitting in this simple room? Why have you come here? And I really felt from the core of my heart, I want to wake up out of this dream, because this life is not real. This is a dream reality. But due to our ignorance, we see it as real. And if we are dreaming, a dream is very real. So there is an awakening out of this dream. So I wanted to wake up out of this dream we see around us. So I asked Bhagavan, I hope you can help me. I want to wake up. And Bhagavan said with a voice which was trembling through my whole body, with such a force that was in his voice, yes, surely I can help you. If you can love me, I will do the rest. And I remember that at that moment, that very moment, a whole burden fell from my shoulders, a burden from a lifelong search and not being able to find. But this man really knew what he was talking about. He really could help. There was no doubt about his words. His words were touching and the tears were flowing over my cheeks. And I felt so enlightened already by just hearing those words, and so much happened. This backpack full of stones and burdens fell off. And I remember after that, Bhagavan gave me some tea and just some chit chat. And I cannot remember so much because I was so overwhelmed by all the things that happened. But he made such an impression on me that, yeah, I could not sleep at night anymore. I was drunk. I was completely drunk out of love. And when we were back in the taxi with Swami Satchidanandaji and Shankaranandaji, I was just laughing like I had a lot of alcohol, like, ha, 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 ha. There was no ending to my laughter. And they also had to laugh about me. But at night, I could not sleep. Not even a bit. I was so charged. And in the morning, I asked Swami Shankaranandaji also, Swamiji, how is it possible? You're always around Bhagavan. How can you sleep? And then he said, like, he had to laugh. You will see, you will adjust, he said. Sleep will come one day again. And of course, sleep came after some days. But always it has been less than normal. It never went back to those strict 8 hours I needed or 9 hours. It really came down to just 5 or 6 hours. And that never ever changed, actually. So this was my first meeting with Bhagavan, and that was really already life-changing.
So that time you stayed in Virati for how long?
16 days.
16 days. So in these 16 days, what happened to you? Did you feel that you were, from the first experience, did it continue or it just stopped there?
No, it continued till today, actually. So it never stops with Bhagavan, and that's the beauty also. So I, after 2 days or after another day, Bhagavan actually came to Virati. And at that time, I also finished the biography of Bhagavan, the Living God, that was just published then. So I had some notion already about Bhagavan's life, and I was very impressed. And I really felt like Bhagavan was trying to do something for humanity, for the whole world, for the whole universe, the well-being. And I really felt I want to be a part of this. I was searching all my life to do something for the world, for the humanity, because I saw how we were treating each other was not the way it should be. But I didn't know how. But Bhagavan he really made serious steps, and he worked on this already, and I really wanted to be a part of this. So when Bhagavan came, I was also very surprised that he started talking to me right away. There were so many people, and he started talking to me, and I was like, oh my God, he's talking to me. Who am I to talk to this great man? He's talking to me. So in the evening, we had this this Vedanta sitting with Bhagavan, and he was sitting in the old prayer hall. If you go to Mayabari now, it's extended, but then it was still the old building with the prayer hall upstairs. And I remember that the picture of Adi Shankaracharya was above Bhagwan, and that picture really became lively. It was so lively, and it overwhelmed me so much. And Bhagwan knew actually everything. He was giving me so much attention, and I was a bit embarrassed by it. But he already started pulling me out of this old patterns by saying, he saw I was a bit upset by everything what was going on, and he said, you come to the front and you start dancing on this Maha Mantra. What is happening to you? So a lot of things actually happened already in that moment, and after dancing and singing Maha Mantra, everything calmed down again. But every day something happened. It was growing deeper and deeper, and I could stay with a devotee in a house a little bit further away, and so we walked daily to Bhagwan. And I could not stay calm because she was not able to walk that fast, and I just wanted to run. I just wanted to run to Bhagwan. This walking was too slow for me, and she could not, of course, because her feet were hurting. It took me a lot of effort not to start going faster than her. But I could not be without Bhagwan. Every little single moment it was like a torture. So as soon as it was possible to be with Bhagwan, I wanted to be there like every moment. And every time I was sitting with Bhagwan, and he gave me tea and biscuits, and he was so nice. How can you not love him? He's so beautiful. So I was just completely overwhelmed with his love, and there were not a lot of people at that moment because it was very hot summer. So he gave me a lot of attention also. And at one day he also called me upstairs in the prayer hall. He said, you go, and I'm coming. So when he came, he gave me this divine experience that by touching my forehead, suddenly I just could not hold on to my body anymore, and I fell down, which was so extraordinary because I still could hear everything. I was still fully aware, but there was no body consciousness anymore. I was not a body. I felt I was not a body. And at that moment, I also could feel like, oh, I can go to my feet, and I go to my arm. And then I felt, oh, I can also go out. It was like having like a jacket on, and I could just let it go, which was very, yeah, it was such a experience. And then I don't know anything anymore. So after some time, Bhagavan said, like, get up. And then suddenly I could get up again. And after looking in Bhagavan's eyes, I just had to laugh for 5 minutes. I just could laugh because this world is just really a dream. It is not true. And at that moment, I could see it so clearly. This is not true. And it is just a game, and I had to laugh about it, about all the distresses I had, about all the problems I thought I had. It vanished. It vanished. There was just love. There was just this love and this knowledge. And it was amazing. So after that moment, it also never changed anymore. This love just deepened, this peace and bliss that came into my life from that moment on. never left me, and this was the most beautiful. This was the life-changing. This was a new birth. It's beyond expression how you can name it, but this is actually when life started, because before that I was dead. I realized I was not living. Only with this self-realization, real life will come. And this was also my experience at that moment, that I realized that I was born again. Everything started over anew in a very different way. By the grace of Bhagavan. By the grace of Bhagavan. It's the feeling that what I experienced, this is what I want to give to everybody. This experience is the most beautiful thing you can have in your life. This is when life starts. And seeing the people struggle so much, this is really what I also want them to experience. So this is what Bhagavan gave. How to express, no words can express the gratitude, the love, what Bhagavan gave. It is beyond expression. I only can give it further and forward, because this is the only thing in my honor to my Guruji, to my everything, to Bhagavan, who gave me life.
Beautiful. So when you had so much experience, so deep experience, it was really very intense. And when you are with Bhagavan, it's true that you cannot stop. It just keeps going and going, and takes you, into more and more subtle areas of consciousness. So now, after these 16 days, you have to go back to your country, to Netherlands. So what was the difference that you experienced? This was the first time that you had so much of spiritual experience, real spiritual experience. And then you were going back to the place from where you have come. So what was the difference that you faced, and any challenges that you faced while you were in the country, and how did you adjust to them?
Thank you. That's a very beautiful question also, because it is a life-changing thing, and then suddenly you are shifting in a life that is like it was like before. But the beauty is, when we are going back to the world we are before, we actually see how much we changed. So for me, it really felt like this change was permanent. There was no doubt that this would go. And I remember coffee with my colleagues in the break, and we were sharing the stories. Oh, you went on holiday. They called that holiday, which was for me, of course, not a holiday, but a life-changing event. So they said, how was your holiday? So I was just sharing my experience, how things changed, and they just laughed and they said, yes, we can understand. You had some good time, and you will see, give it another few months and you will see everything will change. But it never changed. It never changed. And I said, no, this will not change. And it did not change. And I remember one of my dear colleagues in my work, he actually said she went to India and she came back and she started laughing. And that never stopped. That never stopped. So he actually also got involved in the society, and he also actually met Bhagavan and got into this in this path. So it is beautiful that this peace and this bliss and this love that came from the heart, that Bhagavan opened the heart and it could not close again. It was like a door that was ripped out, and not open but ripped out. So no chance that it would close again. So always this love and this peace and this bliss was there.
Okay, so Anjali Ma, I have a very important question.
So always.
Please finish what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I had this question that.
So this
Yeah. Please continue.
Yes, sometimes some calls are coming in between, that's why.
Okay.
So there's some disturbance. So this peace and this bliss and this love that was always felt in the heart, that just that never left. It never left. It stayed there.
Yeah.
And I I had some troubles in the office in the beginning, but every time I just went into this meditation state and I got recharged again, so I could finish my job very good. You know, my concentration was very strong, and then also, and things went very, very smooth. But this meditation was just coming every day. Every day, deep meditation was coming. Or sometimes twice. It just happened. Bhagavan always like it was like he was pulling me inside, and from there on, a lot of bliss and peace was added more and more and more. And so yeah, life just moved on in this way, and I started also giving meetings to let people come and listen to the
Yeah.
stories of Bhagavan.
Yeah. So I have a question here.
Mm.
The first thing is that we are in a state of mind, searching and struggling with life. Then we go to Bhagavan, and then we have this overwhelming experience. Unexpected, very intense and very profound experience. And we, sometimes we don't know what to do with it. And then we come back to our place, and then we, at our utmost surprise, we see that these experiences are actually real. They were not, they were not uh, just temporary. They are real and they are continuing. So, one is the experience that is happening. I'm experiencing whatever spiritual, moods I'm going through, or spiritual states I'm going through. Now, while I'm going through all these states, there is a, gradual transformation within me, which probably in the very beginning I don't realize it. And after some time, I suddenly realize that I also have become like this. So, did this kind of moment come to you, that you suddenly realize that something different has happened to you, something new has happened to you, something great has happened to you? And if you have realized this, what was your reaction to this kind of experience?
Mm. Thank you, Swamiji. This is yes, those things are really very intense when they happen. So every time going to Bhagwan and coming back and going through deeper realizations, it happened that coming from Bhagwan, I realized suddenly that I was doing things like you normally do, and then you feel that um, the way to move is suddenly cleared. Normally you always feel maybe some blockage. You're not aware of it. Still, you feel that the blockage is not there anymore, and suddenly you feel like, oh, I don't feel ashamed anymore to say this, or I don't feel like blocked to do this. So at that moment, I really felt like some relief, like, wow, this really feels like spacious, that you suddenly had a lot of space to move out of your conditions, because our mind is so conditioned. It's like a prison. So if you want to go beyond your impressions and conditions, suddenly you feel that you cannot, because you feel ashamed or you feel fearful. But with Bhagwan, those patterns were just clearing. And at that moment, I feel there was no fear anymore to do something. And only at that very moment, I could remember and see what happened, that it changed. But if you would ask me now, what were those changes? I don't know anymore, because they are uprooted completely. And I cannot even think of them because they're not there anymore. So this is something very deep. Like, so many people are struggling with psychologists or psychiatrists, if I say it right, and they're trying to get out of a lot of patterns, but it stays like a voice in your head that has to correct you all the time. But with spirituality and with Bhagwan, those patterns were really uprooted and they were cleared out. So your mind is really getting transparent. transparent in the sense that those patterns, impressions of the past, they are bit by bit releasing and transforming, till in the end, probably there will be not anything left anymore than just this pure love, love, this knowledge, this bliss. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's
this
true.
is really something.
Yeah. So what I was asking was this, that when you have found that this transformation was going on, and when you became conscious about this, that, something has changed in me and I have changed. So what was that experience? Was it scary? What was it, interesting? Was it joyful? How was your reaction to this, to this awareness that you have completely, you have changed. You have come out of your shell. You are in a completely different, you have completely different outfit now. So, what was the reaction to this?
It was pure bliss, so
Yeah,
blissful, nothing scary at all, because you feel you're coming home. But it's scary to come home. It really felt coming back to your true home, to your true self, more. So it was a joy, really a joy and a bliss from inside. Yeah,
very good.
most beautiful thing.
So, Anjalima, now moving from this spiritual uh, standpoint, let's talk something practical. Now, after you had all these experiences, and it was 2010 that you had this experience, and uh, in the year 2011, Bhagavan visited Holland and Spain and Europe, rest of Europe. So you were also, one of them who were organizing all this. So what was that? How was this all happening through you? How was it possible through you?
Yeah. Well, I think Bhagavan also asked me to write a book about it, and I think there were so many happenings going on at that moment that a book will be like very like prosperous for this.
Well,
Um,
you can use this interview for that for that book as a reference.
yes,
Hmm.
yes, it was history. There was just history written. Bhagwan was going for the first time out of India, and not even only that. Bhagwan is this avatar. He's this God incarnation. He's like this Jesus. He's like Buddha. He's like Rama and Krishna, Sri Rama Krishna. He's this extraordinary um, godhood that incarnated in a body, and no other godhood has come to Europe yet. Jesus was in the Middle East, Palestine, Israel, it's called now. So Rama, Krishna, they just stayed in India. Almost all the God incarnate stayed in India. They didn't travel that.
Yes.
So Bhagwan wrote history by coming to Europe. And I remember I had the honor to accompany Bhagwan also on this trip, together with Swami Shankarananda. We were with Bhagwan, the three of us, flying out of Kolkata with Lufthansa and entering into Frankfurt. And I remember that everything was new to Bhagwan. And he asked me so many things. How is this working? How is that working? How is this? And then he had this little book, and he started writing all those sentences of all the things that were new to him, new experience. And
Yeah.
well, one
Yes.
experience over the other was stopping up with Bhagwan on this travel. And the one striking moment was when Bhagwan came out of the plane in Frankfurt. And normally you have those gates you go through and you walk out and you come in the airport directly. But this time there was a stairs, and we had to walk down the stairs and then take a bus and then go to the airport. So Bhagwan had right at the first moment the chance to put his holy feet on the earth, there in Frankfurt airport.
Yeah. Bhagavan set his foot in Europe.
Yes, in Europe, in And his first step was there in Frankfurt Airport, on the soil, and not in an airport building,
Yeah.
first floor, really on the soil. So that was a very striking feature. And more things now actually also that a lot of people from Frankfurt actually are coming to the ashram. I mean, Germany is quite, but still from Frankfurt they're coming. So at that moment, Bhagavan was really like, he was like a little child, so innocent and looking around and taking everything in account. And yeah, we flew to Barcelona next, and everything was new. Everything was new to Bhagavan. And to be there with Bhagavan, to see his surprise with everything, to his love, he could just be with everybody. If there's one striking thing is that Bhagavan never went outside India. Bhagavan never had this meeting up with only Westerners. There were always, like, normally the Indian culture there. There was hardly any of it then. But Bhagavan adjusted with everybody. Everybody felt him as his own. Everybody felt him as his own. How is that possible? I mean, he was an elderly man, almost 70 at that moment, 69. So it is not easy to be this age and then so flexible. But Bhagavan was so flexible. He just could adjust with all of us. And everybody loved him so much. And the group was growing bigger and bigger and bigger in Barcelona. At one moment, the room was even too small in the end of the 7 days. Everybody was just loving him so much. And next we flew to Holland. We entered through Eindhoven airport. And there we went to Sprankapelle, where I lived in a farm. And so Bhagavan spent there 7 days in Holland, and we also went 2 days to Paris with him. And one moment after the other, Bhagavan gave us places for pilgrimage. Bhagavan became Krishna. Bhagavan became Jesus. Bhagavan elevated us to levels that are beyond description. So many things have happened in those trips. But this was the most striking trip ever that Bhagavan did in history, I think, that he went as the first God incarnate to Europe.
Yeah.
And there was a
because one day when I called him and he showed me, in a video of the surroundings and all the devotees sitting there, and they were all, absorbed in meditation. He was actually at that time in Holland. So, yeah, we could imagine that everybody was very, very absorbed into, deep spiritual states. And the best part with Bhagavan is that you have this very deep experience, very, like you don't feel like talking, but at the same time your heart is overwhelmed with love that you sing and dance, and you mix with everybody. So this is the true contrast that happens with Bhagavan at the same time. So we could see Bhagavan showed us, see all these devotees, they're all laughing, they're all they're also happy with me. And Bhagavan also, he was very happy at that tour. So how did Anjali Ashram happen? What was the history behind this?
This farm where I stayed, I talked about Bhagavan went to this farm, which was beautiful, but I just was a caretaker of that farm. And after it was getting sold and I could not buy it. I tried because it is a holy place, but it was too expensive and there was no option to do it. So I just asked Bhagavan, oh, please let not the farm be sold. And then Bhagavan said, no, this is not the way. He said, don't, you try to find a permanent place. So I left at that trip and I sat in the airplane and I was just already seeing, okay, what is needed to have a good place for Bhagavan. Bhagavan lost people, so it should be at least in a place where a lot of people are passing by. So in this way, I had some things that they should be there. And then I got sick after coming back from India, and I could not work. I had some air breathing problems. So I was being bored at home, and I was just searching for some houses on the internet. And then I found actually this place. It is the only place I saw, and it had the 5 points that were needed for an ashram, in my opinion. So then I just went watching, and everything actually went smooth. The people that should help me, they came up, the money came up, and within 2 weeks after coming back, it was actually my birthday also at that time. I made an agreement with the owner of the place, and we got like to an agreement. Although he had to drop so much in price, it was crazy, but I didn't have more than to offer him. And then I said, well, yeah, I gave away so much money also to India, then it's like this. So he thought about it and he said, okay, I will sell it for this price. So that was the 12th of the 12th in 2013. So 2 weeks after coming back, this ashram was already a fact. And then the 30th of January, it was like written in the papers, and the ownership went over. So Bhagavan was very happy to have a permanent place then. And in 2015, after all the renovation work was almost done, he came also to inaugurate it, which was, of course, very, very beautiful happening.
So Anjali Ma, we are almost, nearing to our time is getting, like just have 10 minutes in our hands now. We'll talk again. We'll again listen from you about your experiences. But now, just one question. Bhagavan left his mundane body on the 27th of May this year, and you were there in Kolkata. So, there is no point that we talk about that because, we are still trying to get, you know, uh, get, get beyond that. But we are not sure that whether we can do it. Uh, how is life for you now? What do you see in your life? What do you think, of your mission? Uh, how do you see yourself, your life, the rest of your life?
To walk in his footsteps. That's my only wish. That's my only heart feeling. To be to walk in his footsteps is being with him, is becoming him, is giving this life so he can use it as his instrument, because there's nothing else than this empty vessel for him to use for the well-being of the world and for this whole universe. So Bhagavan is still there, but for a lot of people who have not met him, it's very hard to feel him because he has no physical form anymore. But I think to people that have spent so much time with him, we can feel him very easily inside our hearts, and also can hear him from inside our hearts. So Bhagavan is still there. Bhagavan is here still. I always greet him and say hello, talk to him. So he's not away in that sense. But yeah, life goes on, and by talking about him, by doing the things he asked me to do, he's very vividly felt. And then the joy and the bliss multiplies tremendously. So also this talk with all of you, it's so precious. I'm so thankful for this also. Because he becomes so alive, and those days were heavenly bliss with him, and I know we will not get them back in that sense, but they were there, and my earnest wish is that people can get a touch of it by listening to the stories that's from the ones that have been with Bhagavan in those days. So thank you so much also for this.
Yeah, so the last question will be, any message that you have for the world, uh, uh, for the world at large, any message that you want to convey? Uh,
love each other, love yourself first, and then love love all, not even only human beings, but love everything and all. And you will find that only love exists and nothing else.
Yes, that is what Bhagavan had done, and that is what we have to do. Thank you very much, Anjali Ma. You had, we had a very, intense and blissful moments hearing about your experiences with the divine. Uh, I'd like to ask, we had a very, intense and blissful moments hearing about your experiences with the divine. Uh, I'd like to ask uh, who, here Meola is there and Anna is there, Rama Subramaniam, Raman. Raman, I would like to ask Raman. Raman, how did you feel? Are you there?
Yes, Swamiji, I'm
Can you just switch on your?
on the move.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on the move at the moment. So, yeah, I've been driving to this. Today is Ganpati Chaturthi in
Yeah, yeah.
London,
Tomorrow it's
and
tomorrow.
just going to the. Okay. So here in London, it's this evening, so just in the middle of traffic. But I haven't fully composed myself to say because the experience was profound, and I'm the only thing I can say is a great sense of gratitude arised,
Yeah,
um, and it's just thanks to Anjali Ma, there is no I it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain in words. Um, but all I can say is this is what Vedanta is.
yeah,
This is what Vedanta does to people. This is what Bhagavan. I think so. I think this is what Bhagavan has been conveying.
yeah.
And
Thank you very much, Raman. We have
I
our
wish,
sister. We have
yeah.
another sister working in London. Her name is Laura. So if you want, you can meet her. She has.
Yes, Swamiji. I have, yes, I have attended a couple of satsangs with Sister Laura,
Oh,
and
that's
it
nice.
was
That's
great.
great.
Yes.
That's good.
So for me, yes, that's a quick charge for my battery here in London. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you
yes,
very much. So we'll see you more.
thank you.
So, Meola,
Yes.
how was your experience? How did you feel? Thank you. Namaste, Raman.
No. I'm here.
Yeah.
My experience is that for me, and I told this already to Anjali Ma once, I feel already that she talks with God's voice.
Yeah.
Because every time when I hear Anjali Ma talk, I feel my heart. And
Very
when
good.
we do a meditation, she pulls me inside, even with her voice. This is very beautiful. So this is what I told her lately, last time too. She has already God's voice. Very beautiful.
So this is a very important statement that you have given. She has God's voice. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
yeah,
And let us hope that she not only have God's voice, she also become God. Bhagwan wanted all of us to become like him. So we pray and we hope that one day Anjali Ma also would become Bhagwan like Bhagwan. She becomes
yeah.
God. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. It was really very nice of you. So Anna, how was your feelings?
Well, hello,
Yeah,
namaste. Yes, it's very beautiful. It's amazing how Bhagwan all the time works through the people, and I'm really very grateful to hear all the stories from all the people, because Bhagwan is totally around when we listen to each other and to the stories. Yes, it's very beautiful.
Thank you.
So yes, when Bhagavan was still alive, but he was lying very bad. Then I think Anjali Ma was sharing a photo book from Paula, and I was looking at it all the time, and I start crying, and I couldn't stop seeing it. I think the whole day I was seeing the pictures from the first time she met Bhagwan till the latest pictures. So,
Yeah, the Paula's album.
yes, and
Yes,
I was
that was
amazed
really,
about the
yes.
feeling
Very, very heart touching.
she
Yes.
has. Yes, the feeling she had with Bhagwan. It was so deep and so, yes, and suddenly I was so glad I can, and now also to hear the story from Anjali Ma, the beauty, how he is playing his place with all his devotees. It's amazing. I'm so glad I can hear and being. I can witness this all. I'm so grateful for this.
Yeah.
Because I feel the love and his compassion with all of us.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.